Good evening. You're welcome. Can you hear me clearly? Can you please send in a text? I can hear you clearly. I can hear you loud and clear. You can use the chat box, please. Good evening, everybody. Happy Sunday to you. I just want to be sure that you can hear me clearly before we start. So please use the chat box. I can see two people have joined this conversation. Can you please use the chat box? Let me know if you can hear me clearly. All right. Thank you very much for the feedback. So let's just get to it. My name is Oluwalunimi Oniya, as some of you already know, and I am an author of four books. I have one of my books in secondary schools in Akure because it has been approved by the Ondo State Ministry of Education, and many schools in Akure have been using it since 2021. And I am also a data analyst, and I'm working with Mr. Olubenga of Grand Success School to get this message across to as many business owners as possible. So I will just get to the presentation straight up so that we don't waste time. We are business owners and we are very busy people. So I'm sharing my screen with you now. And I promised I was going to deliver four core messages. I am going to make do my promise. All right, so we're starting with mastering grant terminologies. Many times when many Nigerians hear about grants, the first thing that comes to their mind is free money. You know, I have seen many people say stuff like, I applied for that grant, but they did not give me the money. And I'm looking at them, by looking at them, you can tell that there was no structure in place. They didn't have any plan as to what they were going to do with the money when they get it. They just wanted to get somebody's money that they think is available and then squander it. So those are the mysteries or the lies or ideologies that we are going to be dealing with this evening. So mastering grant terminologies, you need to understand that grant language is crucial. Understanding grant language is crucial if you want to stand out in applications and attract funding. Just like in different professions, for example, if you're into farming, whenever you say things like crops, harvest, labor, you know, you expect that somebody who is knowledgeable in that field should be able to understand what you're saying. When you say, oh, the harvest, the crops will soon be ripe for harvest, you expect that anybody who is especially into the field should understand what you're trying to say. So just like you have terminologies, you have languages that you use to communicate either as a doctor or as a farmer or in the fashion space or whatever space it is that you are in, that is the way it is too with grants. So we need to understand what are grant terminologies, what are grant language that we should speak. Okay, so before we get there, what grant is not? Grant is not free chop money. It is not money for rent. Grant is not Ashwebi money. Some people will get grants. You're getting other people's money and you go and use it to buy Ashwebi. That is not the purpose of grant. Grant is not for car purchase or for random personal spending. That is not the purpose of grant. Grant is not a loan. It is not it is not a repayment. It's not a loan that you just get without being accountable. Anybody that gives you money, no matter how small or big, they expect to see that you have a plan on how you're going to spend the money. And grant is not an investment. You know, grantors don't take equity in your business. Apart from okay, you have VCs, we're going to get there. Don't let me not jump. So it is not something that you just get, right? Because you want to give somebody a percentage in your organization. That is not necessary. Grant is not automatic. You must compete with proposals and necessary requirements. So, what is grant? Grant is free, non repayable funding to support projects with impact. If your project is solving a problem, you have a value that you're offering to society, you're solving a problem, or you are an NGO, your NGO project is solving a problem in society, or you are doing a research work that is solving a problem in society, then you can be eligible to get grants, right? It is usually tied to solving a problem or creating measurable change. And all grants are given with conditions, either spoken or unspoken conditions. Sometimes you might want to apply for some grants and you feel, if I just show them how I can spend the money, then I should be able to get this money. There might be some unspoken conditions or criteria too that you will have to meet. For example, there was a grant I applied for some months ago, and I got to discover that one of the not really loud conditions was that the funders, the people that were funding that grant, are very passionate about preserving animal lives. Now, imagine that you want to apply for a grant in that organization and you're talking about how you are going to slaughter many animals to feed the country or to feed a particular group of people. You are definitely not going to get that grant, right? So there are conditions attached to every grant. You need to find out what they are and make sure that you tailor your proposals to meet those conditions. Then you must report back and show results. So grant terminologies, grants. We've talked about grants. It's financial support that you don't repay, but you must use strictly for the project. If you applied for a $500 million grant and you're working on maybe a startup, and you have told us that your project is going to be solving the problem of education, right? The problem of accessible and fair and free education in underdeveloped communities. You should collect that money and use it for what you told us you want to use it for. Don't collect money meant for project A. And then you remember that, oh, I have one project I forgot a long time ago. Let me quickly divert the funds. No, that is not showing that you're a credible person. And this is one of the reasons why many people have missed out when it comes to grants. I have an example here. For example, a 10 million grant from the Bank of Industry to train 500 women in shea butter processing, right? The money is not going to be collected back from you, but then you have to show us that this money you gave me, oh, I have used it well. Then number two, we have grantors. Who are grantors? Grantors are the funders. They are organizations or government bodies, NGOs, or foundations that are providing the money. A group of organizations, like for example, MTN. MTN gives out grants. Sometimes they target young people who are just starting a business. Maybe their business is in the ideation stage and they've just started. Maybe they are about to start, or they are just maybe a year to 5 years in the business. Some organizations might, they're different MTN. We have MTN, we have Wema Bank, we have, those are organizations, right? Several of them, they have opportunities for grants for people, for SMEs, for women, for youths, for different categories of entrepreneurs and researchers. And yeah, government bodies, like Bank of Industry, that is affiliated with the government. CBN, there are different grants in that regard. Then NGOs or foundations providing the money. For example, we have Tony Elumelu. This is very common. Everybody knows Tony Elumelu Foundation. You have access to 5,000 naira, um, sorry, $5,000. I meant $5,000 to do what you want to do. And you can apply at whatever stage your business is. And it is not restricted to age. You can apply no matter your age, your gender, as far as you're African, you can apply. Then we have the MasterCard Foundation too, or USAID. Okay, so let's go to grantees. Grantees are the recipients of grant funds. That is you or your organization. We have a Lagos-based agribusiness startup that receives 6 million naira from an NGO to support cassava farmers. So let's say you apply for a grant. My organization, Grant Success School, is organizing a grant program for business owners, and we want to give out 5 million naira. Then you applied, you met all our requirements, and we were able to disburse the 5 million naira to your company account. That means you are the grantee, you are the recipient of the grant funds, you are the grantee, right? So let's move. We have RFPs, those are requests for proposals. When a grantor um, invites applications with details on what they want to fund, those are RFPs. So a grantor, we mentioned earlier that a grantor is an organization or a government body or whatever that is giving out the grant. So they have put out applications. We are looking for 60 business owners who are who have been in business for at least 10 years. We want to give them grants on agriculture and the impact of technology on agriculture. We want businesses that are solving a problem related to agri-tech, right? And your business falls within this category. That is they putting out the grants out there for you to see, is they have requested for you to start sending in your proposals. So that is what you see that makes you all those things you go through, the eligibility, the criteria, everything you go through. That is a request for proposal. It is when you see their requirements that you now begin to draft your proposal, right? This is why I need this grant. This is what I want to do with the money. This is the budget. This is the breakdown of how we're going to spend the money. These are the documents that we have to support our claims. These are the past experiences we've had, and the likes. So that is RFPs. Then we have LOI, letter of intent, a short letter showing interest before sending a full proposal. Example, sending a two-page LOI to the African Development Foundation to introduce your idea of providing solar lamps to 2,000 rural households. So this letter of intent doesn't, it implies that um, you have an interest, right, in getting funding for this particular project. Either you have seen the RFPs or you've not, you have an interest, you would like to get funding for this particular project. And then you write a letter to a particular body. In this example we have here, we have the African Development Foundation. You let them understand, okay, this is what I want to do. I would like to have 2,000 solar lamps to rural household. This is where I want you to come in. This is how I want you to come in. That is the letter of intent. So if you get approved, if they see your letter of intent and they like your idea, they can now tell you, oh, send in your proposal. That is where you now go into details to apply for funding to carry out your project, right? So deliverables, the results or outcome you must achieve with the grant. Example, if you get 3 million naira to run digital skills training, your deliverables may include training 200 youths in Abuja, setting up 3 ICT hubs, providing laptops to the top 20 performers. So your deliverables are there are ways by which you measure the impact of what your activities has been able to do with that money within that period of time. Those are your deliverables. So sustainability, how your project will continue after the grant ends. Now, many people miss out on grants because they don't have plans to scale their business. They don't have plans to groom and grow that business to become an entity that is sustainable, an entity that can function even when they are not there. They don't have a proper business structure, right? So many businesses are not sustainable because they don't have a business structure that can stand firm even when the wind is blowing. That is why many people have missed out on grant. So how your project will continue after the grant ends. Your project does not stop when the grant ends. Maybe you were given 500 million naira, for example, to carry out a project within a year, and you were able to, you gave it your best, you were able to carry out the project within a year with the 500 million naira. You did everything you had to do. It does not stop there. After that 1 year period, after that duration, what happens to your project? Can your project continue surviving? Can it continue to thrive? Can your project continue to run? Can it scale? Right? These are things that grantors, that funders look out for, right? So, example, after funding ends, your fish farming project continues because you sell fingerlings, you reinvest profits, and sign supply contracts with hotels and restaurants. When I was in school, I did a business where I used to make beans powder and pepper, right? But at some point, I had to drop it because some things were not working out. So if I had gotten a grant for that business at that particular time, I didn't have plans for that business to be sustainable. So I may have ended up, wasting funds on the long run at that time because it was mainly survival mode. There was no plan for a long-term sustainability. So you need to really sit down and ensure that you are doing a business that you see the future of that business in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years, 30 years. It is sustainable. You can create other streams of income around that same business, right? So your logic model in action, a framework showing how resources, activities, inputs, outcomes, and impact. So you have a framework. That is what is called a logic model. With these resources you have, there are different kinds of resources. We have human resource, we have financial resource, we have material resource, right? Material resource. Maybe you have somebody has told you, if you ever want to do this project, don't worry, I have a land somewhere that you can use. And you say, okay, that is a resource that you have, a material resource. And then you're trying to apply for a financial resource. Do you have other resources that when you put together will help you achieve that result you want to achieve? So from your resources to your activities to your outputs and then to your outcomes, and that is what will give the impact that you desire. So for example, you have input, you have 5 million naira grant. Activity, establish tailoring workshops for unemployed women in Enugu. And then output, 100 women trained in 5 months. That is what you want to put out, right? If you give me this 5 million naira grant, this is the output I'm going to give you. So your outcome, 70% start their own tailoring businesses. That is a massive success, 70%. Impact, increased household income and reduced poverty in the community. And on the long run, of course, this is okay. I don't want to go into ripple effect. So okay, let's move on to the next thing. So we have exploring grant types. I am really trying to be as fast as I can be. So exploring grant types. Not all grants are the same. Knowing the different types will help you apply for the right opportunities and present your ideas properly. So one mistake many people have made is thinking that um, you know every grant type is the same thing. Some people would apply. You are using the same proposal across different kinds of grants. You are using the same proposal. Like I said earlier, there was a grant I applied for earlier this year, and if not because I did due diligence to check out what are their criteria, what are they really looking for, I would have just wasted my time. There are some funders that are everybody has their bias. Some funders would not like to fund a project that antagonizes their value or what they stand for. So you need to see if this proposal you have, if it is really in line the um, with the objectives of your funders. If it is in line, then both of you can work together. If it is not, you may need to, adjust a couple of things or maybe even quit and look for another grant altogether, right? So yeah, let's move. So not all grants are the same. Knowing the different types will help you apply for the right opportunities and present your ideas properly. So project grants. We have um project grants are funding given for a specific project or activity with clear goals. Example, a 7 million naira grant to run an agri-tech project that provides improved seedlings and trainings for 1,000 cassava farmers in Ogun State. That is a project grant, right? So research grants, support for any research-based activity, often in universities, NGOs, or innovation hubs. Example, a Nigerian university receiving a grant to research malaria resistant crops, right? Or renewable energy solutions. So we want to find out, I'm not dwelling so much on number one because I have talked about agritech before now. So research grants now. We want to research what are malaria resistant crops. What are crops that maybe if a person eats them, it takes him more of this particular produce or crops, they would become resistant to malaria. Or if you drink them, maybe if they are boiled as herbs, they become resistant to malaria. This takes research. We need to sit in the lab, take out samples, make them go through different processes, extract or observe, note a lot of things down. So these are there are grants that are available for research. If you want to do either academic research or research that affects society, social impact, whatever it is, there are grants that are actually tailored for that purpose. Now, general operating support grants, these are funds that are used to cover the day-to-day operations of an organization. That is rent, staff salaries, admin. These are less common but very valuable. Example, an NGO in Abuja receiving 5 million naira annually to keep its youth development center running. Now we all know that one of the major expenses of any business is operations. Operations consumes a whole lot of money in business, right? Money, you pay your staff salaries, you spend money on marketing, you have to pay rent for those that are not even operating on their own site. And if you're operating on your site, you have to, run some maintenance. All this costs money. These are areas where businesses tend to spend more, right? So there are actually grants you can apply for that covers your your business needs when it comes to operations. There are grants like that. They're not common actually. There are very few grants like that, but they are available. Capacity building grants. These are grants that are used for the purpose of helping you strengthen an organization's skills, systems, or structures. We talked about business structure earlier. So it can perform better. Example, a women-led NGO getting a grant to build a financial management system, training staff in proposal writing, and upgrading office equipment. These are capacity building grants. Maybe you want to invest in your staff. You want them to go through a leadership training, an emotional intelligence training. You want to invest in your structure. You want to invest in your business systems. There are grants that you can apply for that would cover up for that. Seed funding or seed grant. This is a startup capital for new businesses or fresh ideas. Often the first money you get to test your concept. Initially, when we began this webinar, I talked about how that you can get grants if your business is still in ideation stage. That is, you've not even started doing anything. You've not registered. You don't even have a, you've not started doing anything about the business. But then you have an idea. You can get grants. One of the platforms you can get such kind of grants are through hackathons. You can get grants from different platforms, which we mentioned some of them here. And how do you know which one is which? It will be stated in the grant category. You will see it. This grant is available for businesses within 0 to 6 months or businesses within 1 to 5 years. You're going to see it when you apply for grant. So you will not be left in the loop. So number six, we have matching grants. These are grants that require you to match the funds with your own money or resources. Basically, what matching grants are is your total expenses. You want to carry out a project and you need maybe 50 million naira to carry out the project from stage one to final stage. The grantors want to see that you can afford to, you can commit financially, no matter how small. Some will tell you 50-50. Out of the 50 million naira that you need, we are going to give you 25 million naira. Let us see that you have 25 million naira available so that when we give you 25 million naira, we can be sure that you are really going to do something. You're not going to just take our money and disappear. And some will tell you, okay, let us do a 60-40 ratio, raise maybe 40%, we will give you 60% of the money you need. So that is why it is called matching grants, right? So I think that is clear. So let's move. Grant eligibility essentials. You can't grab an opportunity you don't know exists. It's important to understand the rules. Many good proposals get rejected because applicants ignore the basics. Many people, when we tell people you need to understand the basics, you see, even in the school system, if we did not understand basic A to Z, we will not be able to read or write or even understand English words or the English language, right? So the basics are very important. When we tell people you need to understand the basics, there may be some things you do not know, and that is why you'll not be able to get grants. Some people will tell you, let's skip, let's go to the part where we get the money. I just want to get the money. Getting the money is not the issue. You doing, follow up the process, putting the lines upon lines that will lead you to that stage where you can get the money. That is the major thing. And you cannot do that if you don't have understanding, right? So always check the eligibility section. Just like I said earlier, any grant you want to apply for, you can not apply for a grant and you claim, in quote, you claim that you didn't know what they were looking out for. It is not possible. It will just show that you did not do due diligence on your part because you did not go through the grant eligibility section. They will state what they are looking for there. They will tell you if you are within maybe 40 to 50, don't apply. Some will tell you if you are maybe you are 18, below 18, please don't apply. We only want people within this. Some even tell you we only want women. Some can tell you we want only men. Some will tell you we want teenagers. So if you are not a teenager and you apply for a grant that was put out there for teenagers, you're not going to get the grant. No matter what you do, you're not going to get it. It is just as simple as that, right? So number two, we have no individual applicant. This is another mistake that many business owners make. And statistics have proven that we have over 90% of businesses in Nigeria are small businesses. So, and of course, one major thing with small businesses is that many small businesses are owned, managed, everything by one person. You are the CEO, the CMO, the HR, the manager, everything. Just you are the marketer, the salesperson, one person. So one mistake people make is you think you can approach a grant organization, you can approach an organization for funding by just, you just going alone, and they're telling you who are the team members you work with. You're saying we do this, we do that. So who are the we? You only have yourself to show. It does not work that way. You can get people, and they should not even be your family members unless they are actively contributing something to your business, right? People who are, maybe you have a graphic designer, you have people who are doing operations, HR. You can get them on the team. You need advisors like senior managers who advise you. All these people, maybe you have advisors, you have um is it patrons they call them. You should put them on the team. They are part of your team. So you don't go applying for grants as an individual. You will not get it, right? So that is that. So understand the funder's priorities. Every funder has a focus. We mentioned this earlier: youth empowerment, climate change, women in business, education, agriculture. If your idea doesn't align, you will not be selected. For example, submitting a fashion proposal to a grant targeting renewable energy projects is a waste of time. And not only is it a waste of time, they see you as being incompetent because they can easily tell that this person did not even go through what we put out there. They didn't go through our RFPs. So it's a waste of time. Check for multiple funding categories. Now, there are some grants that offer different categories. One grant they have for startups, they have for women-led businesses, the same grant too. They have NGOs, they have research. You check and then you choose the right one that increases your chances of winning. So understand your project scale. What do we mean? Funders want to know whether your project scale size matches the amount of money requested. Small grants are usually for community level project, while larger ones target national impact. For example, a 2 million naira seed grant is best for piloting a new idea in one community, not for launching a nationwide campaign. Now, some people will approach these people you are dealing with are not fools. Many of them have also been business owners. They've started multiple businesses. Some have even sold many businesses. They are not fools. They understand how finance work. They understand the market. Many of them have done their own research. You might be thinking, I'm applying for an international grant. They don't know what is happening in Nigeria. They don't know the cost of things. You'll be shocked that they know they have people who do this research that will go and research these materials that this person puts in here. Is it true or is it false? Have they exaggerated the price or have they not done their research well? All these things they are going to take their time to do due diligence. So don't assume that I'm dealing with foreign people now. They don't know how things are going here, and I'm in Nigeria or I'm in Ghana or wherever it is that you are, right? So take time, sit down. If you are requesting or you're applying for a 10 million naira grant, don't lie and say everything you need to do, you can do it with you need 20 million. Do you understand? When everything you can do under 10 million, you will not get the funding that way. So finding grant opportunities, you cannot seize what you cannot see. To win grants, you first need to know where to look. You cannot win grants when you don't even know. Okay, you've been hearing grant, grant, grant. And then maybe once in a while you hear people talking about, oh, there is this grant that I applied for. There's one grant I wanted to apply for, right? Okay. So saying it's large to the grant thing is large to be on life. Okay, let's just follow. Okay, so let's move on to if you don't know where to look for your grant, you might just be one talking about grant. Where can I get grant from? Number one place you can get grants opportunities from is government websites. You can check federal, state, and local government platforms for calls and appointments, e.g., Bank of Industry, Smidan, UWIN, and the likes. So check government sites. If you do not know what websites belong to the government, you can use simple ChatGPT, prompt it. Maybe I will send some prompts to the group later. So just prompt ChatGPT, list of government websites, maybe in Nigeria. You can decide to start small. Maybe you want to start with in Ondo State, in Oyo State, in Lagos State, right? You can start with that. Check them out. So from one website, you'll be led to another and another. That is how you get started. International development projects like yeah, many of them run donor funded programs like USAID, UNDP, World Bank, and so on. MasterCard, yeah, and so on. Foundation databases, e.g., Tony Elumelu. Tony Elumelu is a foundation. We have many of them like that. Corporate social responsibility, that is CSR. Many large companies like banks, like big agri-tech companies, fintech, many of them have a process through which they would like to give back to community, right? So they sometimes do that through outreaches, through grants. So you can check out different companies. Like I mentioned MTN the other time. MTN usually has different grant opportunities for people from time to time. So you can check out MTN's website. You will see different opportunities. You will see people that have won their grants in the past and what their business do. Non-profit networks. Joining network helps you to hear about opportunities early. Example, associations like Faith Foundation or Nigerian Network of NGOs, that's NNGO, grants and our network, our GSS network. I'll be showing you our website. We have many people who, we ourselves have been beneficiaries of several grants rather for NGOs, for businesses, and we've been able to help many business owners get grants in dollars, like several. Okay, so grant specific search engines, that is dedicated platform lists open grants worldwide. Example, we have websites like Grant Station, Funds for NGO. Funds for NGO especially, you can see grant opportunities across different countries, different organizations. There's just a lot of options, different categories, a lot of options to actually select from. And the opportunity desk, share funding alerts. You can filter by sector and location. The more intentional you are about where you look, the better your chances of spotting grants before deadlines. So before we wrap up this session, I would like to share. I mentioned that I work with GSS, that is Grand Success School, in the beginning of this video, and I want to share some of what we've been able to do in the grant acquisition stage and phases with you. So I'll be sharing my screen now. I'll be doing that very briefly. Like I said on the group, if you have questions, please your comments here, right? And you can send your questions on the group as well. So this is our website. I will send you a link to the website on the group so you can check it out later. You can verify, like Peter Abi was saying one time, go and verify. You can go and verify. So unlock massive funding with Grant Success Code. These are testimonials of people who have been able to get grants, right? Just by following the laid out principles that GSS has has put together. So we have just wrapped up with registration for the previous cohort, and registration for the next cohort is it has already started. Okay, so why Grant Success School is your best choice for winning grants? Number one, we have proven results. Our students have collectively secured over $30 million in grants. Lesser focus. Each model is crafted to directly contribute to your grant writing success. No irrelevant stuff ever. Let me show you what our modules look like. These are the things that you stand to learn in the school. This is why we are qualified to. Okay, before we come here, let me show you what our course outline, our outlines look like. So at Grant Success School, this is what we teach business owners: defining common terms, understand the language of grants, master the essential jargon, key terms, and all, investigating different grant types, determining who can apply for a grant, finding grants, how you can find grants, outlining the pieces of a grant application blueprint for success, like piece by bit, from executive summary to your budget to everything. Everything will be outlined for you. Researching your topic, strengthening your proposal, bringing the facts to life through storytelling, um, crafting a convincing narrative using telling and selling words. That is persuasive communication. Bringing the problem to life with a statement of need. How do you write your statement of need? Introducing your target population, theory of change, describing your programs and activities, building a bulletproof budget for the program design. So you see that all these things we are doing, we've just been scratching the surface. There is a whole lot to, putting together an excellent grant proposal, right? So crafting a program design, driven monitoring and evaluation plan. That is how you track your progress, finding the right partners. This will help you boost credibility, compiling supporting documentation, that is organizing your evidence. Many people have been doing well in their business, but they don't have evidence to prove. So people are saying, and with human beings, seeing is believing. We've often heard that, but it is actually true. People want to really see, okay, what are you doing? What have you done? Why should we trust you with our money? And we all are like that. Well, I don't know, maybe I should not speak for you, but for me, if somebody is approaching me and telling me, I need a grant of 300K or 500K, I want to know, okay, what do you want to use the money for? It is a normal thing. If I cannot see how clear your ideas are on paper, then I don't believe you can actually bring it, to real life. You cannot manifest it. So, how to score your writing, self-assessment techniques, nailing grant interviews. When you win grants, you're going to be interviewed. So many people, this is where they fail. This is another story for another day. Grant reporting after you win. And check out our bonuses. Our bonus class, we have crafting a grant focused pitch deck. This one is very important that funders cannot resist. This is where your organization, your impact, everything will be. The impact you're expected to make, everything will be. Then storytelling techniques to make your grant proposal come alive on stage. Handling tough questions from grant communities with confidence. Standing out in competitive grant pitch environment, and case studies of successful grant competition. We will also save you the stress of having to um, search everywhere, right, without a proper structure, looking out for opportunities and not really having the structure in place, because we have a list of organizations, government bodies, individuals, as the case may be, that have platforms where they, from time to time, they put out grants, they make grants available and put it out for people to be able to access. So we have a list like that we compiled for everyone who has been a student at Grant Success School. And why are we qualified to be able to teach business owners? Olubenga Ogunbowale has been an entrepreneur for a long time. He won the award of Entrepreneur of the Year. That is the director of Grant Success School, and is a fellow at Yali West Africa, finalist at Gist Tech, organized digital training for over 7,000 small business owners, grant funded. International Businessman of the Year, Royal Commonwealth Society Fellow, NYC Merit Award winner, awardee 100 most influential young people in the world. You can actually check him out on LinkedIn. I will send you his LinkedIn profile after this session, and so on, and so forth. So, and another benefit I have not even mentioned earlier is the fact that at Grant Success School, we hold we hold your hand at Grant Success School until you are able to write your grant. We check it out, we correct whatever it is that needs to be corrected before you put it out there. So you have access to mentorship. You have access to other grant owners, grant benefactors, or should I call them grantees, people who have benefited from grants. You have access to that network of people. You have access to other opportunities, that are grants related, funding related, business related. So I am going to continue our chat on the group. If there is any question that you have, either concerning the things that we have talked about this evening, or with regards to the Grant Success School, how to enroll, and things like that, please kindly ask on the group, and your questions will be answered. So thank you very much. We have been here for about 40 minutes now. It has really been nice doing this. Okay, so somebody is saying that she said confidence gold. She said, Ma, this grant stuff is too large to be live. Better it would have been typing on WhatsApp. Thank you. Oh, okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I am going to send you the document on WhatsApp so that you can go through it. So when you go through the document, if you have questions, you are free to let me know. So I'll send you the document on WhatsApp. You go through it, you share your questions, you share your concerns, and if you want to enroll properly in our school, I'm going to put you through how to do that. So I want to say thank you very much for being a part of this session. My name is Oluwalonimi Morenike Oniya. You can find me on any social media space with that same name. And it has been really nice doing this with you. All right, guys. See you on the group. Bye.